When every second counts, count on Vital Care MedTrans. You do have a choice when it comes to ambulance service in this area. So when you call 911, ask for the best.
Wait a minute, are you Vital Care?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good.
State-of-the-art equipment and a well-trained staff who stand ready to respond to your call. That's Vital Care MedTrans, when nothing but the best will do.
Are we ready? Ready. Okay, we're on? Okay. Folks, remember, I was down to Vital Care today, visiting those folks. They was moving in and out, had ambulances coming and going. Remember, if you call 911, just ask for Vital Care. If you're in the unfortunate situation that you need help, just ask for Vital Care. Those folks will get right to you. They'll take good care of you. I think I was talking to him, if I remember right, between John Bond and his son Jeff, and I think just between those two, not to mention the rest of their staff, they've got about 50, 60 years of ambulance experience just between those two, so they know how to take care of you. And then they got staff members, left and right that know what they're doing. So just remember, if you need 911 assistance, ask for Vital Care, and they'll send those folks to you. Then I went by Jacksboro Metals today. I like to go visit these folks every now and then, just see what they're doing, and talk to Fred down there at Jacksboro Metals. And he said I said, how many people come through there? He said, we generally average between 40 and 60. And he said yesterday they had 78 people in. He said they're hopping. And folks just, this debris and clutter and junk just leaving the county, instead of laying on the side of the road. And I got a list of stuff here that they take in. They take aluminum cans, number 1 copper, number 2 copper, clean aluminum, dirty aluminum, aluminum wheels, aluminum radiators, copper and aluminum radiators, brass radiators, clean brass, dirty brass, batteries, dirty wire, breakage, stainless steel, electric motors, starters, alternators, sealed units, heater cores, lead, shredders, tin, scrap, metal, long and short iron. They got a place down there they can take all that, folks. Fred actually weighed me on the scale down there. I ain't gonna tell you what it said, but he actually put me on the scale down there today. And but they've got a site, jacksborometals.com. And Fred said that they update the pricing, what they pay for all this stuff every single day. It's all on there on jacksborometals.com. So go see those folks. They're providing the service, they're running the business, but that's how actually helping clean up the county. Got one folks here, Vital Care's taking care of the county, and these folks are cleaning up the county. So help those folks out if you can. So don't really have a whole lot planned. Hope we get a lot of us, call in. You can tell me what you want to talk about. We've had the Bartley issue come up again. I've got a list here, folks. I've got a report right here. Okay, that is the pay and benefit package of every single county employee. Somewhere in there, if you work for the county, your name and your pay and benefit package is in that list somewhere. I've read some of them. And folks, I can tell you, it's pitiful what some of our folks that work for the county make. And I mean pitiful bad. Not, there's some of them make really strong, make really well, but more so than not, it's pitiful what some of those folks get paid. And I've talked to several, and they say, they have the job for the benefit package, the health insurance, the retirement, and such. I looked at one lady's pay, a cafeteria worker, folks. She makes $12,500 a year, according to this list. $12,500. She's listed as a full-time employee. Full-time makes $12,500 a year. Folks, that's ridiculous. That is just disgraceful that we've got a full-time employee in our county only making $12,500. That, you know, I don't know how you see it, okay? And we're not responsible for making everybody rich, okay? But when you're paying somebody, that's just crazy, okay? What some of these officers make for putting their life on the line, and I was just picked this up today. I got to briefly go through it. I'm gonna go through it a little stronger probably this weekend and do a little more research on it. You know, and it's just there. I can tell you what, it seems like there's an imbalance between. I'll just lay it on the line. I'll just say the truth. If you've got a college degree and further than a bachelor's degree and master's and all that, and you work for the county, okay. Now I'm excluding teachers. I'm not talking about teachers in this, because in teachers you have to have those things, okay. I'm talking about some of the other positions. This is not about teachers, okay. But there's other positions that it seems like if you've got a little education about you and all that, you get paid more just because you got an education. The fact of whether you do a good job or not doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything. It's just that you've got an education, okay? And some of these folks may not have college degrees and all that, and they make less money. You know, they make a lot less money, maybe because they don't have a college degree, you know. You know, I've looked at some of what the janitorial staff make. It's ridiculous, folks. It's you know, I'll go this far as to say, you know, some of them that are making those wages actually take advantage of the county's health insurance. I'm not sure why they don't get on welfare along with their county pay. You know, it seems like to me, I don't know how that welfare system works totally, but, you know, it seems like to me that welfare would be a way to go so that they could, you know, the government would give them their health insurance and a little extra pay to go along with what they make, you know, because you can't tell me that a person that's got a salary, and it's right here in this report. I'm not making it up. It's in this report. This person's got a salary of $12,500 a year, taking advantage of the county's health insurance. I bet that person don't bring home $600 or $700 a month. Tell me how, you know, probably don't bring home that much. Probably brings home $500 a month. Tell me how that person is surviving. I don't know how that person is surviving. You know, so, but I'll go, if y'all want to talk about that, we'll talk about that. I've been through it a little bit. If you were to call in and you were to ask about something, please don't say anybody's name. You know, don't say anybody's name. I'm not going to go through somebody's name. You're on the air.
Hey, Jerry.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Jerry?
Yes.
We paved downtown, didn't we?
Huh? Turn your TV off. There's a delay there. Turn your TV down.
Okay, it's off.
Okay.
We got that road paved downtown, didn't we?
Buddy, that needed to be done, and did you go down there? It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
It looks good. I went down there. I rode up and down it a couple of times. It felt so good.
Yeah.
You know, so they got the, you know, when I was told that it was being done, you know, the person that told me said he wasn't sure that it had been let out, the bid had been let out. Well, it was the next week. It was already done. So it was more than let out. So, but it does look good, folks. What he's talking about here, I mentioned it last week. If you haven't been down there, go down there in the city of Jacksboro and then take a left down there from the Walmart and McDonald's. Like you're going in the city of Jacksboro and see that nice, fresh paved road. It's very smooth. You won't break your car down. You won't lose your hubcaps anymore. It's a nice road.
Yeah, it is, buddy.
What do we need to get done next?
Oh, no, I'll think so.
You think of something? Well, you're right. We're successful on that when it got done. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens next.
we appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
So, City of Jacksboro did a good thing there, folks. They did get that road paved. It's extremely nice. It's very nice. Go down there and check it out. There's a lot of people fussed about that road a long time. Now, in my mind, the next road we need to get fixed is the road up there off the 141 exit, goes back into the Caryville Industrial Park. I talked to a person in the county mayor's office today, and we were talking about that. And I know there's several commissioners that are making calls to Nashville, to senators and representatives, and finding out, because if I remember right, the money was let for that road a year or so ago. Okay, and I think I remember the city of Caryville voting to supply their part of the money, which I think was about $95,000 that they had to supply. The county had to supply part of it. And that money has been voted on and is sitting there waiting to be used. Not sure what's holding that road up. I know that the mayor's office, as well as the several commissioners, are trying to find out why is it not started? Why is it not being done? Because I got word today that. Gosh, I don't want to give anything away, really. There's a business or two that is looking at Campbell County with one business that I've discovered today is probably a $5 to $10 million investment and about 50 jobs. Another job at about probably a $10 to $15 million investment, about 70 to 75 jobs. That is looking to possibly come here, but we're up against Anderson County. Well, what does Anderson County that we don't have? They have accessible places with nice roads into places to put a business. Because I was told today that these two businesses that I'm talking about, we're looking at possibly locating up there off the 141 exit. But they drive down that road, and that automatically puts us out. Who wants to bring a business down there and bring cargo in and out and have to drive over that bumpy road? So we've got we actually do. I talked to at least 2 or 3 people out of the mayor's office and on county commission that are making calls. I mean, strong making calls. Trying to figure out when is this project going to get started, because we just, and I've said it last week and I've said it before. Unless we fix our roads, unless we get these roads going, ain't no businesses coming in here. Okay, I'll go a little further and I'll say, unless we get our education moving, you people can be mad at me if you want to. No, I'm just what I've looked at, and there's people disagree with me strongly, and I welcome that opinion. But my opinion is, I hate taxing people and I hate taxing the citizens and all that. But the only way that my understanding, what I feel like, and I could be wrong, but it's my belief that we've got to fix the roads and we got to start fixing our education, making those things a little better. Okay. Before we're going to be able to reach out and get some industry in here, okay? And since we don't have industry to supply that, the only other way to do that is raise taxes a little bit and put the money in the right place, make sure it's going to be used right, make sure some of these wasteful projects that we've had going in the past, spending $12 million on a jail that shouldn't have cost more than 7 or 8. Spending $2 million on a solar panel project that in no way in the long run is ever going to pay off. Okay, foolish projects like that. My opinion, those are my opinions. Okay, if we could have saved those monies and put them in the proper places, we could be started. Okay, so if the county commission were to raise taxes, we got to make sure those monies are put to the right place so that they're used properly. And, that money's not squandered and wasted like it has been some in the past. We needed that jail, folks. We certainly did. There's no question we needed that jail. Okay. But we could have done with an $8 million jail the way Commissioner Bob Walden suggested we do it, as opposed to $11-12 million jail that Commissioner Rusty Orick wanted. Okay, I've had a disagreement with that, time in, time out. Okay, but that to me is just squandered money that could have been used elsewhere. Okay, at some point in time, we've got schools that are going to have to be replaced. I talked to somebody today. Some of these older schools are going to have to be replaced at some point in time. That's going to take some more money to put in those schools. Okay, it's just we've got to fix our education and we've got to fix our roads in order to attract business. As we attract business, obviously that'll bring more taxes in. We'll eventually get all that back in the long run. Okay, and one thing that I know we'll hear this argument over and over and over again, and I've discussed it several times. People out there say people that rent houses and rent a property, rent apartments and that kind of thing, don't pay property tax. Well, that's a foolish statement. They do pay property tax. I challenge anybody to bring a property owner right here, in here, that'll sit right here and look in that camera and tell you they don't put an amount on the rent for that apartment, for that house, for that lot, whatever they're renting, that building, whatever. I challenge them to come here and tell you they don't put an amount in that rent that covers the amount of the property tax. Okay, it might be in that owner's name, but that renter is paying that property tax. So renters pay property tax also, folks. So, I've said that time and time again, but I keep hearing that argument and it just don't wash. Okay, so I'm one that believes, I'm willing to pay a little extra property taxes if it'll be used properly. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee it'll be used properly, and that's the unfortunate side of it here in Campbell County. Well, in a lot of counties, a lot of cities everywhere, that these kind of things happen. But at some point in time, we've got to step out on faith and trust that it'll be done right, and hopefully it will be done right. But everybody said it for years. Our kids deserve better than what they've been getting. Okay, when our county commission votes 12 out of the last 13 years for the maintenance of effort across the board, not only the school system, your county clerk's office, your other offices, your trustee's office, property assessor's office. Okay, everybody, your sheriff's department, that's the worst one of all. That you get the maintenance of effort in the sheriff's department, you really hurt the sheriff's department. That hurts them more than anybody else, really, because they're charged with protecting the citizens. Okay, and when you tell them, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, but we ain't giving you any more money. You got to add over here and you got to take care, but we're not giving you any more money. It stretches the limits of the sheriff's department. That's a tough thing to do, so that's the worst situation of all, in my opinion, is the sheriff's department along with the school system. We just need to make that investment, folks. And the reason I'm saying it again, the reason I'm preaching it again, is because we are at budget time. Okay, I've heard it over and over from at least two commissioners. Oh, we got to cut, we got to cut, we got to cut. And then you ask them, well, where do you cut? Now, well, I don't know where to cut, but we got cuts. We got to cut somewhere. I don't know where we're going to cut, but we got to cut somewhere. Well, figure out where you're going to cut, and then come back with a statement and show what you're going to cut on. Just to say we got to cut, to me that doesn't get it. So if you come in with a proper answer and say, I've discovered, I've done the research, because each of them get the budget, each of them get a broke down copy of the budget. Okay, if they say, well, I've looked over here and it seems to me that we can maybe take a little money from here and put it back maybe the schools or something, that can be legitimate. But just to step up and say, like they did last year, one of them called for, said, I want a 10% budget cut across the board in every department. Okay, well, that just never made sense from the beginning. Okay, and they got a lot of kickback from all the departments when they did that. So, a lot of you, I'm sure, disagree with me, but I just think we've got to invest in the children, and we've got to invest in the roads, and quit doing this status quo, because the numbers are just not improving like they should be improving. We looked at that list last week. A bunch of the schools were improving on that list. We're way down on the list. Okay, that's schooldigger.com, like Hazel Valley showed us. I went and looked at it. I didn't do all the research I should have done, but I went and looked at it. I think 80% of our schools are improving according to that list. Okay, going by the criteria they use. Well, whether you like their criteria, somebody else's criteria or what, at least it's showing there's some improvement, no matter how, they're looking at it the way they're looking at it. At least there's some improvement. There were three schools that failed, okay? But overall, the schools were improving, and I think Mr. Nidifer will tell you, your principals will tell you, some of the other folks will tell you that, hey, as long as we're making steps to improve, eventually we're going to get there, okay? But it still, to me, needs a little investment, financial investment in our kids. Because, Mr. Nidifer pointed it out at the last meeting I was at. I think it was him. Well, I think he pointed it out here that, we are $1,300 per student behind on the state average as far as spending per student. Okay, and we need help on that. Let's see. You're on the air.
Yeah, when all these rich people like Jack Harris is not paying his taxes on his rental properties and his personal properties, how come they're not putting them up for sale?
And I'm not aware that how do you know he's not paying his taxes?
Well, they told that last week or the week before that there was a whole bunch of these rich people around here wasn't paying their taxes.
Who said that? I didn't see anything on that.
There's on one of them shows here about a week or two ago. There's a bunch of these people that was behind on their taxes. They ain't got none of their places up for sale.
Well, I guarantee you, if they didn't pay their taxes, they would be up for sale also. Because there's laws about that has to be done. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I would welcome you to, if you know where, where a list is that you're talking about. I'm sitting here with my little computer.
Somebody collecting taxes on these people that owed a bunch of taxes, and it wasn't the poor people, it was all the rich people.
Yeah. Well, now I can tell you that some of the folks, and I don't know about the name that you mentioned, and please don't mention any other names. Some of the folks that do that, they invest their money and they use it up until the very last minute that they have to pay their taxes. I know that does happen. I don't know the certain case what you just mentioned, but I assure you.
Excuses.
Well, you can't make up for ignorance, folks. So sorry about that. So just trying to make an explanation. Somebody calls in here and makes a baseless claim that obviously doesn't know what he's talking about, in my opinion. I'm sorry about that, and I try to explain it. So, but anyway, let's talk about the Bartley situation just a minute, okay? Of course, everybody knows what happened in the Kenny Bartley situation for here, and he left for West Virginia. Okay, we got a call. You're on the air.
Yes, I was wanting to ask you about the property down there that's empty across from Shoney's.
Yes, ma'am.
How come nobody's interested in that? What do you think?
I know what the owner of that property is asking for it, and I'd say that's the holdup on that. He's asking quite a bit of money for that piece of property.
Well,
That seems to be, to me, that's the holdup on that. You know, and I may be absolutely wrong. I know what he paid for that property. I was at the auction, and the last thing I saw as far as the listing on that property, he's wanting twice what he paid for it.
Huh.
You know, so, and of course,
Yeah.
of course, the man that owns that, you know, he's not even from here. Okay,
Huh.
I think he lives in Loudoun County, I believe, but he's not even from here. He don't need the money, and it ain't hurting him a bit for that property to sit there.
Well, you'd think it would be a great place for a restaurant, wouldn't it?
Well, you know, that was when he bought the property. I talked to him. I was at the auction that day. His intention was to put a little service station with a couple of restaurants in it. He'd said he wanted to bring a Gondolier's in and probably put a Hardee's or an Arby's or something like that in it. But then he, for whatever reason, he changed his mind. He had already owned, I think it was about 40 or 50 gas stations, and he sold all those, and he's out of the business now, I guess, and decided he didn't need to do that. He made quite a chunk of change selling those gas stations he had, so it ain't hurting him for that property to sit there. And if he don't get the money he wants, I guess it'll just sit there.
It'll just sit there, won't
You know,
it?
but that's what, as far as I know, ma'am, that's what's going on. It's not that anybody don't want it. He just wants an exorbitant amount of money for it.
Okay, I was just curious because it just seems like a great place right off 75.
Well, it is a great place, and I hope if somebody does purchase it, hopefully, you know, I'm assuming that, I would assume really, that if somebody does purchase it, there's going to be a gas station there, but hopefully there will be at least one or two restaurants go in with it.
Right. I don't think we need a gas station.
Well, I don't think we do either.
We got banks and gas stations galore.
We got plenty of them, but I can't afford that property. I don't know about you, but I can't afford it. And the person that does afford it, they'll put whatever they want to on it. And most of the time, right there on that interstate, a gas station is just attractive.
Yeah, well, let's hope something goes in there.
I agree with you. I hope something does pretty soon.
Thanks for taking my...
Thank you, ma'am. So, the Kenny Bartley situation, I've got a question here. And maybe I'm misunderstanding. There's an article on WLAF's website. And I'm not going to mention the author's name just because I have such a... I'm kind of in a quandary. Is their query messed up in the head about this? The headline of the article says Bartley comes home. Okay, and it says reports coming into WLAF indicate the convicted school shooter has returned from Virginia, where he was living with his former therapist. Okay, his family and legal advisors are declining to disclose where Bartley is at this time. My problem with that is Bartley is a fugitive. My understanding, he's a fugitive at this time. Okay, it seems that this article, that the author of this article may know something that law enforcement doesn't know. I talked to a person with the sheriff's department today and asked that person about this article saying Bartley's come home. I said, what do you know about that? This person told me, said, we don't have any idea where Kenny Bartley is. The district attorney don't have any idea where Kenny Bartley is. They want him. If they catch him, he's going to jail. He's going to be charged with certain different probation violations. I don't know how long he's going for jail. It might be 2 weeks, it might be 2 months, it might be 2 years. I'm not sure, but I know they're going to lock him up if they catch him. Okay, so if the author of this article knows that Kenny Bartley is in the community somewhere, or if it can be proven that family or somebody knows that Kenny Bartley, even his legal advisors, if they know he is in the community or even in the state, and they don't bring this information forth, it's my understanding they can be held possibly for obstructing justice, okay, or for helping a fugitive flee, and this when I read this article, I was just curious about this, because it plainly says Bartley comes home, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, what does the author of this article know that even members of the sheriff's department and the district attorney's office don't know? So and I haven't been able to get an answer to that, because I'm sure you folks out there, when you read the story, how allegedly, okay, that Kenny Bartley was in that house with that 3-year-old child that was injured and ended up dying from those injuries, and it was just Kenny Bartley and that child, supposedly, allegedly, in that house. You all had to wonder what happened, just like I do. And the attorney general apparently up there in the sheriff's department, or whichever department, law enforcement's up there in Virginia, is looking into this. The thing I read today said the autopsy report's still not back on the child. So they're trying to find out what happened. But apparently, the girl that Kenny Bartley was staying with, I think she was acting as his probation officer. The way I take it and the way I understand it is, she's put him out of the house. Okay, that's my understanding. I don't know if that's the fact. Okay, I'm just telling you the way I understand it. So in this device that he had on, that tells him where he's at, it had a GPS in it where he's at, and whether he's drinking any alcohol or not. Apparently this device is no longer functioning. They don't know if he's taking it off, and the article says whether the batteries have changed, they have not been changed, it's just went dead, or what's that, they don't know, okay, but it's not functioning. So they are looking. Now, one thing that amazes me about Tennessee law, back in April, this device registers alcohol use. And back in April, they said within a couple of weeks of Kenny Bartley leaving here, the device showed, because he's supposed to not have any alcohol whatsoever, the device showed that he had been drinking some alcohol. He registered that and sent a report in. Well, our judge put out a warrant, but because it's only a misdemeanor, and I don't get this, folks, so maybe somebody can explain this. Because it's only a misdemeanor, our law enforcement in our DA's office weren't allowed to send anybody to get him, because it's only a misdemeanor. If it had been a felony, they could go get him. But our state laws, okay, not anything in the district attorney's office, not anything in the sheriff's office, our state laws prevented them from going to get him, because him drinking the alcohol, which is a violation of his probation, is considered only to be a misdemeanor. Now, I don't know how that works, folks. To me, that's just another one of those laws that seems to give the criminal more rights than what the average citizen has. That's just my opinion. Again, that's my opinion, okay? That just is something about that just doesn't make sense, So, hopefully if Mr. Bartley is around, hopefully he'll turn himself in. I don't really see that happening. It could happen, but hopefully he'll turn himself in and get on with this, and maybe they'll put him on a take away the probation and put him on a time frame that he's to do in jail, and let it be, and let him get it over with, and go on about his business, whatever. Because I think most folks around here would just sooner not be in the community. You're on the air.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello.
Hey, what gets me about that Bartley case
Yeah.
is everybody whining and crying, feeling sorry for him. Poor little Kenny.
I don't feel sorry for him.
I don't really, because he's a psychopath, and If he don't get put in jail, he's gonna kill somebody else.
If he hasn't already.
That's the truth.
You know, if he hasn't already. And we don't know that. I'm just saying if, folks. I don't know that. So don't go out saying Jerry said he's killed somebody, because I'm saying if he hadn't already, we don't know.
I don't believe he's got no emotions, because what I've seen of him, he has never showed any kind of emotions.
Right.
And this lawyer always done the talking, you know, for him, and whining and crying for him, and you never heard him say anything.
Well, and that's what lawyers do. That's their job. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, you can talk to Leif Jeffers, who is our public defender. And Leif in his office. Sometimes we're left to defend people that you're thinking, how in the world can they defend these people? How can they take them on? Well, they don't have any choice, okay? And they've taken an oath to do that job to the best of their ability, okay? And it's just what they do,
But somebody would try to strangle their own mother. You know they're going to kill somebody else before it's over with.
Well, I mean, did he get convicted of that?
Well,
I don't know.
He did.
He did?
I believe he did, but they didn't do nothing, just, put him.
That's what the probation was on?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was a conviction or not on that issue. So, if he got convicted on that and there was a proof that actually happened, then the shameful part about it is my understanding, and I may be wrong, is when they look at these situations, they can't go back and consider what he's already done as part of what we're looking at now. You can't consider that.
Oh.
Because he's already done his time, he's already paid for it, and it's kind of like it's gone, as far as the court sees it. They can't go back and look and say, well, he was convicted of criminal negligent homicide or whatever it was he was convicted of, and we got to consider that in this matter. You can't do that.
That's the truth. I just pray he ain't around here, because I'd hate to hear of it.
Well, if he is, I would wish he'd turn himself in. Let the thing run its course. Let him do whatever time they're going to give him. Then get it over with, then maybe go back to Virginia.
That's the truth, because he ain't gonna get no help.
I read in the article where that girl up in Virginia, when that happened, that 3-year-old child died. She made a statement, something about, we know Tennessee loves their Kenny Bartley. Well, I don't know who she'd been talking to. Because I mean, his family probably does. But as far as I know, the rest of the community don't want him here. Does that sound about right?
He's dangerous. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I mean,
I ain't saying he did it, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, and well, if he did it, I'm sure they'll find out here, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe bring charges.
And that woman was just trying to help him, but you can't help nobody like that.
I'm not sure she was trying to help him. I'd be curious to know the real story behind that. There's got to be a little bit more of a story behind that.
Yeah, you hear so many stories.
Right.
Or which one to believe about that.
Right. I mean, that whole thing just seems strange that, she put herself on the line to bring him into her home all the way up in Virginia. Something just didn't seem right there. I don't know what it is. I can't prove anything. I'm not going to look into it, but it's just a curious thought.
But me, myself, I wouldn't want nobody in here that wounded 2 people and murdered 1. And
well, it ain't coming in my house.
No, I wouldn't want them around me or my family.
There you go.
Hey, it was good talking to you, Jerry, and you have a good night.
Thank you, buddy. You're on the air.
Hey, good evening, Jerry.
Hey, but do you work for the county? Do I have your pay in here?
I don't. Well, I work for them, but I don't think I'm on the.
You're not on the. I got the payroll here of every county employee. You ain't on this thing.
Well, I'm helping pay for some of that. But let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
On that file you have there, is there one employee per sheet on that? Is that how it's printed out?
No, there's probably, see, this one page has 4. There's something now. There's one here. The very first page, this one person, she takes up half the page. There's anywhere from about 3 to 5 per page.
3 per 5 per page.
Yeah.
How many total? Do you have a total of exactly how many people there are in that file?
I haven't gone that far yet.
Okay.
Let me see if it's listed on the back page. Okay. Well, looky here. Okay. Let me see. This is just the school systems report. Okay. This one here, I've got some more over here, so I mean that adds to it. And I see that other caller. I'll get to you in a minute.
Okay.
This is the school. Now hold on a minute. This is the school systems report, and it does say on the back. Okay, and I got a different report over here. Okay, if I'm seeing this right, total classified full-time employees 240.
200.
Hold on. Total classified, okay, 240. Total classified part-time employees, 118. Total certified full-time employees, 501. Total certified part-time employees, 17. Okay, so if I'm reading that right, there's about 860 employees in just the school system, if I'm reading that right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then that's just the school.
That's just the school system, if I'm reading that right. Okay. That's just the school system. Now, when we get to the county's part, let me see if there's something on each page. This one report here, which comes out of the 101 fund, total classified full-time employees 230. Total classified part-time employees 52. So that's another 282 on just that report. Okay. And then we've got another one here that's 34 and 1. We got another one here that's 39 and 6. And then we've got another one here that is 34 and 7. So we've got, 1,300 employees?
Okay. That was what I was curious about, is how many employees we had. Now, are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. That phone is so quiet, I can't tell.
Okay.
Whenever we was talking about the one, okay, let me put it this way. In the school system, like in the food part, the cafeteria part, the lowest paid now you said was about 12,000.
Well, I don't know if it's the lowest one. That's the one I just happened to look at.
Okay.
And it was 12,500. I don't know how anybody can get any lower.
Okay.
But that's just the one I happened to look at.
What is the average benefits on a average employee, like let's say in the food preparation or whatever? Would their benefits be kind of similar to county commissioners?
Well, it just depends on what, and this was explained to me, and caller, I see you calling. I'll get to you in a minute. I got another call, but I'll get to you in a minute. This was explained to me by the person I got this report from, okay? She told me, she said, there's several different options that each employee has as far as what benefits they want, okay? It just depends on what option they choose. So they're probably not going to be the same, but here's the thing about it, okay? If on the medical insurance, the health insurance, it doesn't matter if you're the top paid employee or the bottom paid employee, the county pays 82% of your medical insurance, whichever option you choose.
Okay, 82%.
It's 82%, and she said Obamacare set that. She said Obamacare makes you pay the same percentage from top to bottom. It doesn't matter, the same percentage.
Okay, what I'm trying to...
But now here's where it goes, okay? Here's where it goes. Let's say that top employee at the school system makes $95,000, okay? And they got a family of 4 on their health insurance, okay? And the county's paying 82% of that, okay? And that employee has to pay that other 18%, right? Now let's go to this person that makes the $12,500, and let's say this person had a family of 4, and they wanted the county's health insurance. The fee is the same.
Right.
Okay, the fee is the same. It doesn't matter. Okay, that person has to pay out of their pocket, out of their pay, the very same amount as that person on top.
Okay, which comes to about 16%.
18%.
18%.
Yeah, 18%.
But here's anyhow, you've got other callers, but I'd sure like to have a discussion if you get caught up on this thing. Like, whenever we're talking about students, I believe we're averaging somewhere around 5,000 students in the county.
I think a report I read last week said 5,400.
Okay, 5,400. Well,
Yeah.
I run some numbers on 5,000.
Okay.
You said we're $1,300 under average.
Under average. That's what Mr. Nidifer said sitting here.
Okay, if we were to go up just to average, if we took the $1,300 and we only had 5,000 students instead of 5,400, we would be looking at $6.5 million.
Is that what it is?
I'm sorry.
Okay. I haven't done the math on that, so.
Okay, but anyhow, what I would like to, and maybe don't give me an answer right now, but the question I have is.
You're right, $6.5 million.
Okay, if you were in charge of this and whatever, how would you spend the $6.5 million in the school system? Would you put it into? Well, let me back up. Let me back up and say this now, and I'll ask this question later on. But anyhow, or some other day. But out of I believe we're spending something like in excess of $6,000 per student per year. Is that correct?
I think it's probably a little bit more than that, but you're right on.
Okay, I'm looking for exact figures.
Yeah.
Here's the point I'm trying to get around to or the question I'm trying to ask is out of the amount of money per student, which I'm going to say that is the total school budget divided by the students.
Right.
Now we come up with $6,000 plus or whatever. Now, whenever you take into consideration transportation, all the administration, food, you name it, everything that you want to add to this thing,
right,
and then you take that away, then how much of this 6,000 and whatever that we're talking about actually goes for education?
And you've got a great point there.
That's right, because my bet is that less than 50%
right
goes to the students. I'm going to say the rest of it goes to games and balls and you name it, and whatever under the sun.
Yeah.
But this is the way to look at this thing.
Solar systems.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
If you want to try to look at this thing without raising so much more revenue or whatever.
Well, and I just did the calculation on that. If we raise the taxes just to cover that difference, it would be 93 cents on the tax rate. That's crazy.
Is that an addition or?
That's an addition. If we raise based on 5,000 students, we raised it 1,300 to get to the state average. That would be having to raise the taxes 93 cents just for that. That ain't happening.
Jerry, that's something to think about.
You're right, it is. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I appreciate your time and catch you other callers there.
Okay.
And this is food for thought.
Yeah.
And in the future, I'd like to ask if when you got time, we'll discuss it further.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
You're on the air.
Yes.
Yep.
I'd like to make a comment about, Yins are on the air right now talking about Kenny Bartley,
Yes,
about
ma'am.
how he and dangers to society and to citizens of Campbell County. What's up with Marvin McGee? Y'all got it on 911 tape. He premeditatedly murdered that young man. Y'all ain't trashing him on TV.
You've obviously never watched this show. Because I don't know how many times I've made the same comment, just what you said. So you've obviously never watched the show.
No, I'm sitting right here watching it right now.
You're sitting here watching it right now, but I'm just saying in the past, you must not have watched this show because I brought that point up several times.
Y'all have never said a word about how Gary Seals has tormented and tortured kids at that school. Are y'all saying that Kenny Bartley's dangerous? You go through what those kids went through at the middle school, where he hit kids in the head with the phone.
Hold on, man. If you're going to make these statements, prove them before you make the statements on my show, okay?
I ain't got to prove them. You ask the students up there at the high school.
Okay. If you're going to call my show and you're going to make allegations about somebody hitting somebody else, bring the proof, and I'll let you make that statement. But don't call my show and make a statement about an administrator hitting a child and you got no proof. I want to see the proof to make that statement on my show. You're on the air.
Yeah, you was talking about Kenny Bartley.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the lady he's staying with is supposed to be a counselor. They told on the news this evening.
Right.
Investigated, and they found no license for her in the state of Tennessee. And they're checking in Virginia. They haven't found any up there for her yet either.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not sure how that came about. I think, I'll give you my opinion. I think folks around here just wanted him out of here, and they were willing to let him go just to get him out of here, and maybe hopefully he'd straighten up. Obviously, allegedly that hasn't happened.
And they said they got him away from here to get him away from his family. But his mother was up there in Virginia with him.
Somebody said, my buddy, Mr. Slusher, said he read something. I didn't see that article to where his mother was. I didn't see that article. Where was that at?
On the news. They told that on the news.
Told that on the news. Okay, I didn't see that. So, but yeah, my buddy, Mr. Slusher, told me he read that on one of the news channels. I didn't see that.
Yeah, she told him on the news lady that his mother come back, but she stated that Kenny didn't come back with her.
Right.
Now, a little later on the news, the internet, I read headlines that said that they had discovered that Kenny Bartley was 240 miles from Tennessee.
Yeah, I read something on that too, but then, they say they really don't know where he's at.
No, because he took his bracelet off, or the battery's dead.
Yeah, their battery's dead or something, and they don't know where he's at. But I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't talked to the district attorney. I really haven't asked the sheriff or the chief deputy, who are people that I generally would ask these questions. I haven't asked them. The longer that he stays, on the run and doesn't turn himself in. I'm guessing that brings more charges. I don't know if it does or not.
Well, now the way they were talking, when they catch him and get him back here, it's got to 2 years to pull in jail at jail time that he was on probation already.
Right. Oh, I see the article you're saying here. It's on WLAF's website. It says Bartley last seen 270 miles from La Follette. Well, that's basically where he was staying at.
Okay, well, anyway, the news lady said that they had no proof of any counseling license for the woman, and either they know of in Tennessee, and then waiting to find them in Virginia and hadn't found them.
Okay, I'll check into that a little more, okay?
Okay, and like I said, it really makes you look even more guilty since he's left from up there.
Right.
And they haven't proved on the child yet since he was the only one that was home with it when it got hurt.
Right. Well, that's what the article said. So,
Yeah.
I'm thinking if that were the case and he was the only one home, I wouldn't want him staying in my house any further. Would you?
I wouldn't have had him in around where Charles was nowhere.
I totally agree with you. That just seemed crazy to me.
So the judge would have made that clear.
Yeah, that just seemed crazy. So there you go.
It is. You don't put somebody around a child that's done assaulting an adult.
Right.
I know I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. I agree with you. So.
It's pretty odd to me.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll find him pretty soon, and hopefully all this will come out and they'll figure out what happened to that child.
Yeah, and then I think too, I didn't watch Channel 8 News, but they said Shane Saxon was making a statement, wondering if he'd put some motion into play with all this that's going on by sending him up there.
You know what? If I wonder if, because he allowed that to happen, if it comes to find out that Kenny did have something to do with the child's death, and I'm saying if they come to find that out, how's Shane Sexton personally going to feel about that?
Well,
because it's like you said, he allowed it to happen.
Right, and that's what I said on another person that got killed before, and they had, like the Marlowe case where he killed his mother.
Right.
His dad went a week before that happened and asked the judge to put his son in a mental place and get him back on his medication, and the judge refused.
Yeah.
Week before he beat her to death.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yes, see, I was married to his dad's brother.
Okay.
I got word of that. He went the week before it happened and asked the judge to commit his son back into a mental hospital.
Right. Well, and and the judge, sometimes their hands are tied by these silly laws we have, like the one that I mentioned earlier, because Kenny's after on and he's got probation against having alcohol, but because he had alcohol and that probation violation is only a misdemeanor, they weren't allowed to go get him.
Right.
Now how silly is that? I mean, what good is the probation if you break the probation and you're not allowed to go get him? What
That don't make sense.
the probation doesn't serve any purpose.
No, and a lot of these probation officers is letting them slide and not violate them.
Well, and not only that, if the judge knows, this is my opinion, if the judge knows, and maybe even the district attorney, of course, it's up to the judge to allow something to happen. If the judge knows that, hey, we're going to put you on probation and you're not to have alcohol, but if you do have alcohol and you go out of state, because it's a misdemeanor, I can't come and get you, why would you even let him go out of state?
Right. Well, they say when you're on probation, you're not to associate with anyone else that's on probation, but they don't enforce that either.
Yeah. So, there's some of these laws that we have that ties the court's hands and ties the district attorney and ties the sheriff's department's hands and these other law enforcements. They just don't make sense.
It don't.
No, it don't.
What can you do?
I agree with you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, probably got time for one more call. I thought somebody sent me a message there. My phone went off. Let's see. Okay, you're on the air.
Yeah, Jerry.
Hey,
Slusher.
hey, buddy.
Going back to the schools and the county government and salaries,
Yeah.
I saw a show the other night that a guy, his parachute tangled and he went into what they call a death spiral. And you go round and round and round and you get closer to the earth and finally, what happens in the end. But
Right.
go into a spiral. And when I look at Campbell County, with our government, with our lack of industry, with the growing dependence on residential property for the generation of revenue,
Right.
and a declining tax base for commercial and industrial property, we financially are in a death spiral.
Right.
I heard Cliff Jennings when he first took office, and of course the budget was on the line, and he made a statement, and I can't get it exactly the way he said it, but it's pretty plain to him that our spending has gotten beyond our means to support it. The trouble is, though, is that each budget that's passed is an add-on budget. In other words, they take what you currently have, they add the extra expenses, and that's what it is. But everything else remains the same.
Right.
And what's happened is people like our cafeteria workers.
Yeah. How much time we got, honeybee? Okay, we've got to hurry up, Jim.
But anyway, I hope that our school board looks at some of these extremely low salaries that are being paid, and they make a special effort to help those people.
I agree with you. So,
because they do need help.
yeah, I've got this report. We'll go over this week. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Remember, folks, if you need to call 911, ask for Vital Care. They'll come out and see you. And every Wednesday at Jacksboro Metals is $20 extra to the 20th person that comes in there. It's Winter Wednesday, so go see our folks. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.